Finally, I'm going to talk about something that I'm super excited to share, which is the 3 most reached for foundations slash skin tint slash tinted moisturizers that I have reached for in my foundation arsenal. Skincare is priority. After that, in my opinion, a good base makes all the difference if you are going to be wearing makeup, or even if you're just going to be wearing a base. That is the foundation for everything that you apply after, and it will make a difference on how those products lay and how the color shows and perform. I think foundations are super exciting, and I try way too many, and I love every minute of it. Choosing 3 was daunting. That said, this year there were definitely standouts, so picking 3 wasn't as challenging as I thought. The first one I want to share with you is the controversial one, and it has a very long name. I'm going to look it up on my phone, and that is the Patrick Ta Major Skin Hydra-Luxe Luminous Skin Perfecting Foundation. Now, this was controversial for a few reasons. I mean, controversial is a big word, but like within the scope of foundation. It was controversial because of the price. How much is it? It's $58. Now, that is pretty much on par with some mid to high-end foundations. And then there are foundations like La Prairie that are over $200, and some drugstore foundations are now $20. So I don't know. It's all crazy pricing, but that was one of the things. The second issue is that it is considered a skincare foundation, according to Patrick, and also the ingredients are very nice. But it's very, very glowy. So when people review it, you have to consider their aesthetic, their skin, and how it performs. And so someone who is very, very oily or acne prone would probably not love this. I'm not saying it causes acne. I don't know. It didn't for me. But it's not going to provide a lot of coverage, and it's very glowy. And even though I do prefer a very glowy finish at times, I did shy away from it at first until I heard that following his application tips are very important. And once I heard that, I decided I had to try it. And I liked it so much that I got a second bottle, because I really like foundations to match perfectly if I can. And sometimes companies don't have the right color for me. It's impossible to have every single shade. So if I really love a product, I will get 2 shades so I can mix and match depending on the season. Since it's snowing for the first time today and I'm just wearing my hoodie, like I had a moment to record, so I'm doing it. I'm pretty sure I'll be using the lighter of the 2 exclusively before I want to. I can do an application video on this if you're interested. Please comment and let me know. But I just have to give you this tip. After you apply it, however you apply it, take a damp beauty blender. I'm not usually a fan of the sponges because I feel like they absorb too much product, but that is one of the suggested ways to use this. I apply it with my fingers. My dog. I apply it with my fingers, and then I squeeze the life out of the sponge so that there's no more water that can be extracted. And then I tap it all over and it melds into the skin. It actually does set in a different way than a lot of foundations, but it will set. You can powder after. I would wait a little bit longer than other foundations, and it will last, and it looks beautiful. So if you like a glowy, dewy finish that looks natural, it's not like a Tin Man, I don't see any kind of sparkle, you will like it. I think even if you're younger but you like that Hailey Bieber kind of glowy skin, just a drop of it really blended in well, it's going to be gorgeous on you. Really, it's beautiful. I really think it's gorgeous. maybe if you have super oily skin or you really prefer a satin or matte finish, then you're not going to like it. The second foundation I want to talk about is the Ciele Skin and Protect SPF 50 Tinted Serum. So they're calling it a serum. It is a serum kind of texture. It comes in a dropper, which is not, it really isn't my favorite, but this one is a little bit less challenging than some other droppers I've had, but it's beautiful. I would say it's a satin finish, leaning glowy. It has an SPF 50 as the title mentions, which is great, especially in the summer, which is when I use it the most. And I just love it. The extra SPF on top of your normal SPF, you can't bypass that. You shouldn't, I don't think, is a nice plus. A lot of products that have SPF, especially that high, they're nice, but they kind of look like an SPF product. There's a look to it. This looks like a beautiful foundation. Like if I use this and I didn't know it had an SPF, I wouldn't think it had an SPF necessarily, if that makes sense. So this is a beautiful, beautiful product. The final product was a real surprise to me because it is not a new foundation. It's probably been around for 20, maybe even 30 years. I should look it up. But it is a favorite among many. It is beloved by makeup artists. And I have tried it probably 4 or 5 times over the years. And I never understood the hype. I didn't. And I think a big part of that was the color. Okay, let me tell you what it is. It is the Armani Luminous Silk. This is a travel or smaller size that you can get online at Sephora and on Armani, which is a great way if you want to just not invest in the full size, or if you travel, or you want several shades. If you're a makeup artist, I can see why they would love this size. And I think the reason I didn't love it was I never had a really good match. And so they are adding shades all the time, it seems, or they have several times over the years. And now I found the perfect match. I will list all the colors that I'm using below, so just for reference, but this is a 3.5 light medium olive. It's gorgeous. I liked it so much that when they had their sale 30% off, I got the full size. I would say this is probably the number one of the 3 because it has a satin finish. It's not glowy, it's not matte. So that means depending on what products I use under or over, I can make it glowy, I can make it matte, I can sheer it out, and it also builds up well to cover. So I can see why this is such a cult status product. It really is easy to use, covers all the bases. You can't go wrong as long as you have your right shade. And I bet if you've been wanting to try it, or if you tried it in the past and didn't find a shade, I would bet you could probably find your shade match now. So it might be worth re-investigating that. Those are my 3 favorite foundations of 2024. Let me know what yours are. And if you've tried any of these, what your thoughts were. It's very individual and subjective and fun to share what we think and what we find to work best on our skin. Foundations obviously are very subjective depending on your aesthetic and your skin type and the looks you're going for. So I'm super curious to know if you've tried any of these. And what are your favorite foundations, skin tints, tinted moisturizers, skin serums, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean.